The topic of this Twisted Visions challenge was explore a part of the inner city that you've never been to before. Now for me, that's rather difficult because I think I've been everywhere in this city. I think I've explored every square inch of it. But upon looking at a map, I've realized that there is actually one place I have never explored here yet. And that's this place. Emma Miller Place. To be honest, I'd never even heard of Emma Miller. I didn't even know there was a park named after her. So I began researching, and I found there's a lot of very fascinating history associated with her and this piece of ground. But the story doesn't really begin here. It starts over at Market Street. The area behind me there, that triangle of land bounded by Market Street, which is this one right here, Eagle and Charlotte Streets, was earmarked as the first fruit and vegetable market in Brisbane. It was set aside as early as 1855. However, the building that the municipal council put up was so dreadfully ugly, no one really wanted to do business there. And secondly, this area was kind of outside of the main traffic flow of the town at that time. So the whole market just kind of failed, fizzled out, and was shut down in 1881. This meant that a new fruit and vegetable market was needed. I'm just doing a video about the history of this park.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's jump, bro. Do you believe in this?
Sorry?
Do you believe in this?
No, I don't know. No, I'm an atheist. It was in 1881 that land was allocated here for the new markets. And the reason why they chose this site was because it wasn't far from Roma Street train station, which is just behind me. That opened in 1875. Also a factor in choosing this site was that South Brisbane is over that way and Fortitude Valley is over there. Both places at the time, and still today, have a high population. So it was fairly easy for the people in those two localities to come here and do their shopping. Your personal data being hacked and sold online is a very real and ever-increasing problem. Nobody wants their private details made public. What happens is, whenever you are using a phone or tablet or some other device, you are broadcasting an enormous amount of information that can be monitored and hacked. I mean, really, using the internet without a VPN, a virtual protection network, is like walking around with a see-through backpack. Everyone can see what you're carrying. That's where Private Internet Access VPN can help. It's an app that protects you and all your devices from malware, trackers, scammers, and even in some countries, your own government. And Private Internet Access has proven in court that they do not store your data. So how does it work? It's very simple. Private Internet Access routes your internet access through their encrypting servers, keeping it safe and private. And as someone who loves to travel, having a subscription with Private Internet Access gives me peace of mind that no matter where I am in the world connecting to the Wi-Fi, whether it's a hotel, restaurant, or some far-off bar, I know that my online activity is being shielded from scammers and crooks. But it's not just your online protection that Private Internet Access offer. It also allows you to change your IP address so that you can access websites and watch movies that may not be available in your country. Sites like Disney+, Netflix and BBC iPlayer have different content specific to different countries. But Private Internet Access enables you to access them all. For example, on a recent holiday, I wanted to watch one of my favourite movies, Before Sunrise, and I found it on Private Internet Access. I couldn't have been happier. This is how it works. Log into the app on whichever device you are using. Private Internet Access allows you to connect to a server where the content you want to watch is allowed. I knew that Before Sunrise was available on Netflix in Australia, but as I was overseas, the country I was in didn't have that movie. So I launched the app and clicked the arrow here. Below that are the Quick Connect options. Click the arrow beside the automatic server. You'll then see a list of servers Private Internet Access has. I found the Australian server and chose that. Once done, the server now believes I'm in Australia, thus allowing me to watch the movie. Private Internet Access is available on lots of platforms including macOS, Windows, Linux, Android, and they have servers in 91 countries. And the one subscription can be used to protect as many of your devices as you need. Private Internet Access offer 30-day money-back guarantee and 24/7 customer support. And for viewers of this channel, by using your link, you can grab an 83% discount on Private Internet Access. That's just $2.03 a month, and you can get 4 months completely free. go to www.piavpn.com/walkaboutwithrob or just click the link in the description to get started. And thanks again to Private Internet Access for sponsoring this video.
The first Roma Street market opened in 1884 and comprised a shed containing a double set of rail lines running between two platforms inside. Unlike its predecessor, this second market was a great success, and it was considerably expanded a year after it opened. For the remainder of the 19th century, the Roma Street markets were the go-to place to buy your fruit and veggies for general consumers, wholesalers, and retailers.
Just come down to Roma Street and making sure I don't get run over. Roma Street right here, that means that the old market building, the edge of it would have been somewhere around about here in this garden here with these trees. Cars and trucks and things parked just outside there on Roma Street. So just behind me is Turbot Street, and that's Upper Albert up that way, which means the end of the building ended at the eastern end. Yes, roughly. The building would have ended round about here. You can see it on this photo, very good photo, at the intersection of those two roads. So it would have been somewhere around about here where that no parking sign is. That would be about here. So where I'm standing right now, this would have been on the interior of the old marketplace warehouse. That's Roma Street down there, but this road coming up here, this on-ramp up to Turbot Street, this was only put in when the park was landscaped back in sort of 69, 1970. So now I'm on the corner of Turbot Street and Roma Street. And the reason why I'm here is because there's a building associated with the markets that's still standing. Over the road there, that's where the actual market was. But what happened was some of the small stall holders were getting fed up with the ever-increasing rents over there in the main market. And in 1906, they built their own new cooperative. And that was known as the Brisbane Fruit and Produce Exchange. That building, the bus just got in the way. I was about to point to it and the bus stopped right there. Oh, now I can't see it because the Turbot Street overpass is in the way. Right, you can just see it over there. That building in the distance, that old one, that was the second market that was here. Now I'm walking under the Turbot Street overpass and there's a sculpture or something just up there. Anyway, going to cross Turbot Street and go over here and head towards the exchange. This second market became known as the Turbot Street Market. Looks like it's bars and cafes and eateries and things like that. Very, very nice.
In 1964, the Roma Street markets were closed. This was mainly due to increasing traffic and the fact that the markets area was unable to expand. It all moved out to Rocklea, where it remains today. From demolition to 1969, the land became a car park.
There's a milk crate up there. It was in 1970 that the car park was shut down and the whole area re-landscaped into essentially what we see today. It was known as the Roma Street Gardens. Lovely place. Sometime afterwards, though, it became known, I think unofficially, as the Roma Street Forum. And this was a place, really a centre for protests and marches on all sorts of topics: Indigenous rights, the environment, domestic violence, political corruption. Hopefully all of that without Jermaine Greer. And there are scattered about the park a few little plaques and reminders, little memorials of various issues that have been discussed here. There's a plaque just over here under this big, lovely, shady tree. This is the Workers' Memorial, the International Day of Remembrance for Workers, etc., etc. April 28th of each year is held as the International Day of Remembrance for Workers. And you can see this elevated area just behind me there. This was known as the podium, it still is the podium. This is the place where protests would tend to gather here. This is where someone would stand and give speeches. In memory of all the children who suffered and of those who did not survive abuse in church and state children's institutions and homes in Queensland. There is a plaque just here as well. This one says "No more violence, no more silence," and this was unveiled on the 30th of March 2016. Now we've got here an old waterfall, obviously not working anymore. There was a waterfall on this site when the park was first landscaped back in 1970. This current one looks like it's a bit different. It looks, it's in basically the same place. It just looks like it's been redesigned and rebuilt. But yeah, unfortunately, not working. As I walk around this park and explore it, you're coming across a lot of discarded food and tins and wrappers and general rubbish from the homeless who live here. People have to live somewhere, and it's a nice park, and they've got, the toilets don't work. They're down there, and they have been permanently locked, I think, for a long time. Okay, now, what do we got? We've got this poinsettia sculpture. There it is. Lovely. And it's talking about river fire. Poinsettia River Fire celebrates the floral emblem of the city and the annual River Fire Festival. Just reading further down, though, I've learnt that the poinsettia is not native to Queensland. Even though it's a floral emblem of Brisbane, it comes from Mexico. Not New South Wales, Mexico, but Mexico, Mexico. And it was in 1992 that the park was renamed as Emma Miller Place.
Emma Miller was born in Chesterfield, Derbyshire in 1839. She and her second husband and children migrated to Brisbane in 1879. As a shirt maker in 1890, Emma helped to form a female workers' union. She championed equal pay and equal opportunity for women and was foundation president of the Women's Equal Franchise Association. Additionally, she advocated for the introduction of legislation to grant women the right to vote. Emma was also an admirer of William Lane, more on him in a moment. In time, Emma became known as the mother of the Australian Labor Party.
So, Emma Miller Place. You may be wondering, is there a statue to Emma Miller here? No, there isn't. But there is a statue to Emma Miller about 300 metres that way. We're going to take a look. Right, onto Roma Street and go and find Emma Miller's statue. Just as a bit of trivia, across the road there, that area over there, that was where the old Roma Street police station was. And up to Ann Street, just got the lights. We go past the Temple of Doom. And here we are. This is a statue. You can see it right there. There's three people here. You've got author Steele Rudd, Dad and Dave on our selection. Sir Charles Lilly, and he was the Premier and Chief Justice of Queensland. And in the middle of them is Emma Miller. I don't know why she's holding an umbrella in this sculpture, because she's more famously known for brandishing a hat pin and stabbing a horse with it.
Okay, so who was William Lane, the guy Emma was such a fan of? William Lane was born in Bristol, England in 1861 and became a journalist, trade unionist, and utopian. Lane and his family eventually settled in Brisbane, and Lane was largely responsible for the formation in 1889 of the Australian Labor Federation. However, he is better known for founding an Australian colony in Paraguay in South America in 1893, which he called New Australia. William Lane led over 220 Australians to obtaining 463,000 acres. The community was to be teetotal and communist, and as such, no fun at all. As expected, the social experiment failed, mainly because Lane was a dithering autocrat. And of course, communism doesn't work. He eventually ended up in New Zealand, where, bizarrely, he became a staunch conservative and imperialist. Today, there are apparently about 2,000 descendants of the New Australia settlers still living in Paraguay, and the place is still called New Australia.
So then, what's the future for this park? Well, it may not have a long one. As part of the redevelopment going on at the Roma Street Parklands, this place here, Emma Miller Place, falls within the redevelopment zone. And some of the plans that I've seen, some of the drawings, indicate that this entire place could be torn out and the whole thing re-landscaped and become something else. Maybe that's why the toilets are locked permanently, the waterfall doesn't work, and the place is kind of grimy and forgotten. Maybe there's just no point in putting money into it if they know that some point soon this is all going to change. Well, now I think it's official. I think I've literally been everywhere in Brisbane and the inner city areas. This for me was kind of the last piece of the puzzle. If you haven't been here, come on down and have a look before I thought that was a snake then, but it's a belt. Yeah, so if you haven't been here and you're interested in taking a look, come on down and have a look around. There's some interesting memorials and some lovely views of the city as well. Even for that alone, it's worth the trip down here, and the whole place may not be here too much longer. Thanks very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider hitting that like and the subscribe button. I'll see you again on the next walk. The area in front of me, no, wait a minute, that's behind me. The area behind me